Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. People always said we looked like the kind of couple who had it all figured out. Laughter in every photo, matching coffee mugs, weekend hikes that ended with sunset selfies. To the outside world, we were the picture of stability. Inside, though, I'd started noticing the tiny silences, the kind that say more than arguments ever could. I'm Mark Sullivan, 35, software engineer from Seattle. My wife, Claire, 32, worked in corporate marketing, sharp, charming, always polished like she'd stepped out of a magazine. We'd been married 7 years, and lately, I'd begun to feel like a background character in her story. She'd come home smelling like new perfume, toss her blazer on the chair, and scroll through her phone instead of asking about my day. I'd joke to lighten the air. You talk to that thing more than you talk to me. She'd smile, distracted. Deadlines, babe. You know how it is. But I didn't know how it used to be. Dinners that turn into dancing, late-night drives just to feel the wind. Now, she slept with her phone face down, and her laugh had a rehearsed rhythm to it. One Thursday evening, she leaned against the kitchen counter, eyes darting between me and her buzzing phone. "The company's planning a quick business trip," she said casually, stirring her coffee. "A team workshop, just 2 days." "Where to?" I asked. "San Diego." Her answer came too fast. "Just routine stuff." I nodded, pretending not to notice the flicker of guilt in her eyes. She talked about presentation decks and marketing pitches, but her tone felt hollow, like she was reading lines from someone else's script. That night, after she packed, I found myself staring at her side of the closet. Empty hangers swayed like ghosts in the soft lamplight. Something inside me whispered that this trip wasn't about work. But I brushed it off, because loving someone means you want to believe them. The next morning, she kissed me goodbye. Her lips were warm, but her eyes, they were distant. I watched her drive away, that familiar blue sedan shrinking into the drizzle. Hours passed. Work was a blur. I kept checking my phone out of habit. No message. No update. Then, around lunchtime, a notification blinked across my screen. New post from Alex Turner, Claire's coworker. Curiosity made me open it. The photo loaded slowly, 2 glasses clinking under the golden California sun. A caption read, "Making deals, making memories." There was no team, no workshop, no name tags or boardroom smiles. Just Claire and Alex. Her hand rested on his arm. His grin said everything words couldn't. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. For a moment, I just stared, not in disbelief, but in recognition. This was the confirmation my gut had been whispering for weeks. I didn't explode. I didn't call. I simply commented, for words that carried more weight than any argument could. "Hope the project's productive." Within minutes, the post vanished. Her account went private, and I just sat there, coffee cooling in my hand, silence pressing heavy against my chest, knowing the woman I built my life around had already chosen someone else. But I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. Because betrayal deserved more than anger. It deserved strategy. The night after I saw that photo, the apartment felt colder than usual. The hum of the refrigerator, the ticking clock, everything echoed louder in her absence. I sat in the dim light of our living room, scrolling through old pictures of us, smiling, laughing, kissing under fireworks. Every memory suddenly felt staged, like a movie I'd been too naive to realize wasn't real. I could have called her right then. I could have asked, "Who's Alex?" But confrontation gives power to the guilty. So I decided to stay silent and watch. The next morning, I texted her casually. "Hey, how's the trip going?" She replied, "Long day of meetings, but it's going well. Miss you." That one message made me laugh bitterly. The same woman who just smiled at another man under the sun was pretending to miss me. The acting was almost admirable. I started connecting the dots. Her new perfume, her constant smiles at her phone, the late nights. I even remembered the strange dinner she had with the team 2 weeks ago, the one where she came home hours late, hair slightly undone, eyes glazed in guilt. So I did what any man with a wounded heart but steady hands would do. I started gathering proof. That weekend, I logged into our shared credit card statement, and there it was. Hotel reservations in San Diego, 2 nights, 1 room. Her name, his name, same confirmation number. Dinner charges at a beachfront restaurant. Wine, dessert, 2 entrees. I felt something inside me shift. Not anger this time, but clarity. Claire didn't just make a mistake. She made a choice. And now, I was going to make mine. But revenge, real revenge, wasn't about shouting or slamming doors. It was about calm precision. For days, I went on like normal. I sent her good morning texts, cracked jokes, and even told her to take some rest after the big trip. She replied with little hearts and fake affection, unaware that I'd already begun setting the stage. I called my lawyer friend, Chris, a quiet, no-nonsense guy I trusted. Hypothetically, I said, trying to sound casual, if someone's spouse was cheating, what would be the best legal approach? He paused. Hypothetically, huh? I didn't laugh. He sighed. All right, gather evidence quietly. Don't let emotions ruin your leverage. You play it smart, and you walk away with everything. That advice stayed with me. So, I installed a discrete data recovery tool on our home computer. Within an hour, I had access to her hidden folder, a folder named Campaign Files. Inside, screenshots of flight, itineraries, private photos, even messages between her and Alex. The words cut deep. Wish you were here. Can't wait to see you again. Don't worry, Mark's too busy to notice. Too busy to notice? The irony nearly made me laugh out loud. I'd spent years working hard to give her comfort. Late nights, cancel vacations, extra shifts. Also, she could have the kind of life that apparently wasn't enough for her anymore. That night, I watched one of her videos, her laughing with him at a rooftop bar. The skyline glowed behind them, her hair whipping in the wind. She looked happy, too happy. And that was the moment I realized something important. My revenge wasn't about hurting her back. It was about showing her what she threw away. The next morning, I acted as if nothing had changed. I made her coffee, texted her sweetly, and even asked about her presentation. She told me it went amazing. I smiled, because while she was on her little getaway, I'd already made a few phone calls to her company's HR department, to the firm's executive board, and finally, to the hotel where she'd stayed. All it took was a polite inquiry, a fabricated expense dispute, and suddenly her secret wasn't so secret anymore. I didn't leak the photos. I didn't need to. Corporate gossip travels faster than any message. Within 48 hours, her affair wasn't just a private sin. It was a professional scandal. By the time she returned home, I'd already packed half my things and sent her a calendar invite. Dinner, 8 p.m. Let's talk. She arrived looking exhausted, makeup smudged, carrying the weight of guilt and consequence in her eyes. Mark, she started softly, there's something I cut her off, calm but sharp. Save it. I already know. Her face froze. Know what? About San Diego. About Alex. About the team meeting that somehow only included the two of you. She went pale. Her hand trembled as she set her bag down. It wasn't what it looked like. Then explain, I said. Her mouth opened, but no sound came. Just a tear that slipped down her cheek. I handed her an envelope. Cold, white, final. These are divorce papers. Signed. I just need yours. She gasped, shaking her head. Mark, please, we can fix this. I stood up, pocketed my keys, and looked her dead in the eye. You spent months pretending to build a life with me, while building something else behind my back. Fixing this isn't an option anymore. As I walked toward the door, I turned once more. Oh, and one more thing, I said quietly. Your company called. You might want to check your email before the login stops working. Her breath hitched. You told them. I didn't answer. I just gave her a small, calm smile, the kind she used to give me when she lied, and walked out. Revenge, I learned, doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes, it's just silence, the sound of someone finally realizing what they've lost. And for the first time in months, that silence felt peaceful. I didn't look back when I closed that door behind me. The moment it clicked shut, it felt like I'd sealed off years of trust, laughter, and the illusion of love. The city air hit my face, cold and sharp, but it felt cleaner than anything I'd breathed in months. I drove to a small Airbnb outside the city, a quiet cabin surrounded by pine trees and silence. That night, I sat on the porch with a cup of black coffee, letting the darkness swallow the noise inside my head. I thought I'd feel shattered. Instead, I felt steady. Because revenge wasn't chaos. It was control. The next morning, my phone buzzed with messages from coworkers and friends. I didn't have to open them to know what they were about. Word spreads fast when a marketing executive's affair with a colleague becomes corporate gossip. Apparently, the HR department had called her in for a formal discussion. Alex, her so-called coworker, was also summoned. Rumor had it, one of them tried to resign on the spot. And as poetic as that sounded, I wasn't proud of it. Not really. I didn't want to destroy her. I wanted to wake her up, to make her see the wreckage she'd caused. But people rarely see the truth until it costs them everything. 2 days later, she called. I didn't answer. Then she texted, "Please, Mark, I need to talk. It's important." I ignored it. Hours passed. Then another message. "They fired me. HR said the board found photos. You knew, didn't you?" I stared at the screen, then set the phone face down. No reply. Days turned into weeks. I focused on work, started running again, even took an old guitar out of the closet. Slowly, the noise faded. I wasn't healing completely, but I was learning how to breathe again. Then, one evening, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Claire, standing in the rain, eyes red, hair disheveled. She looked nothing like the woman who used to walk into fancy boardrooms. She looked lost. "Mark," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Please, can I come in?" I hesitated. Every memory, the lies, the laughter, the betrayal, flashed like lightning behind my eyes. But curiosity won over anger. I stepped aside. She entered slowly, her heels clicking softly against the floor. Her eyes roamed the living room, as if searching for the life she'd thrown away. "I didn't know where else to go," she said finally. "My parents don't want to talk to me. Alex, he left the company, moved to another city. I thought he cared, but..." Her voice cracked. "He just disappeared." I didn't reply. I just stood there, arms crossed, waiting for her to get to the point. "I made a mistake," she said, looking up at me, tears forming. "I was stupid, Mark. I thought I needed excitement, something new, but it wasn't real. I lost everything for something meaningless." "Meaningless," I repeated, my voice calm but cold. "You built an entire lie around it. You didn't trip and fall into betrayal, Claire. You packed a bag for it." She flinched. "I know, and I hate myself for it. But you have to believe me when I say I never stopped loving you." That line almost made me laugh. "Love," I said quietly. "Love isn't built on secrets. It's built on showing up. You didn't just cheat on me. You buried me alive in our own home and called it marriage." She broke down then, sinking onto the couch, covering her face. For a moment, I wanted to comfort her. Habit, maybe. 7 years of instinct. But I stopped myself. "Claire," I said softly, "you didn't just destroy what we had. You taught me what I should never settle for again." She looked up, desperate. "Can't we start over? I'll do anything. I'll go to therapy. I'll quit my job." "You already quit your job." I cut in. "And therapy won't bring back trust that's been buried under lies." Her tears slowed. She could see it in my eyes. This wasn't bitterness anymore. It was closure. I handed her an envelope from the coffee table. Inside was a check for half the apartment's equity. "Take this," I said. "Start fresh somewhere else. You'll need it." She stared at it like it burned her fingers. "You're giving me money? After what I did?" "I'm giving you a way out," I replied. "Because I'm not like you, Claire. I don't need to destroy someone to feel free." She started sobbing again, but I didn't waver. "You said you didn't know where to go," I said. "Now you do." When she left, the rain had stopped. She didn't look back. After she was gone, I sat by the window, watching droplets slide down the glass. For the first time in months, the silence didn't hurt. It felt earned. In the weeks that followed, I rebuilt my life one small step at a time. I joined a local hiking group, started volunteering at a shelter on weekends, and even caught myself smiling again. It wasn't easy, but peace rarely is. One evening, as I locked up the shelter, I heard a voice behind me. "Mark Sullivan." I turned to see a woman holding a clipboard and a box of donated supplies. Her name tag read Emily Carson. "Yeah," I said. "That's me." She smiled warmly. "I've heard about you. The guy who fixes the broken heater, stays late to mop floors, and refuses to take credit for anything." I laughed. "Guilty as charged." Her smile deepened. "Then maybe I should thank you properly." "Dinner?" "My treat." It wasn't a grand romantic moment, just two people surrounded by kindness instead of lies. But it felt right. As I walked her to her car later that night, I realized something. Revenge had given me justice, but forgiveness, quiet, deliberate forgiveness, had given me peace. And sometimes, that's the real victory. A year later, I hardly recognized my life or myself. The man who once stared at a shattered marriage now woke up each morning to quiet peace and purpose. The air felt lighter, my days fuller. I'd moved out of the city, trading apartment walls for open skies. My small cabin sat near the edge of Lake Evergreen, where mornings came wrapped in mist and birdsong. I worked remotely, split my hours between software projects and the shelter I'd grown attached to. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest, something my old life had stopped being long before it ended. Sometimes, when the sun dipped behind the trees, I'd sit on the porch with a mug of coffee and think about everything that had happened. There was no anger left in me, just quiet reflection. Claire's betrayal had burned down everything I thought I needed, and in its ashes, I found everything I'd been missing. I'd heard bits about her through mutual friends. After the affair was exposed, she'd left town, stayed with her sister for a while, tried to rebuild. The company she'd once bragged about working for never took her back. Alex disappeared completely. Rumor was he took a job overseas. I never confirmed it. I didn't need to. There's a strange peace in not knowing. One crisp autumn morning, I drove into town to grab groceries. As I stepped into the store, I spotted a familiar figure by the produce section. Long brown hair tied up, face thinner, eyes tired but softer. It was Claire. For a moment, the world felt like it paused. She looked up and froze too. "Mark," she said quietly, almost like she wasn't sure if she had the right to say my name. "Claire," I nodded. Neither of us moved. Then she smiled faintly. "You look good." "Happier." "I am," I said simply. She looked down, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "I wanted to tell you. I'm sorry. Not just for what I did, but for who I was. I spent so long chasing things that didn't matter." I nodded. "I know." Tears filled her eyes, but she blinked them back. "I hope you're doing well." "Really?" "I am," I said again, this time softer. "I hope you find peace too." She gave a small, trembling smile and walked past me, basket in hand. For the first time since everything fell apart, I didn't feel anger or satisfaction. I just felt free. That night, I met Emily for dinner at the little diner by the lake, our favorite place since she moved nearby. She wasn't flashy or dramatic. She was grounded, kind, and patient in ways that reminded me how love should feel. Calm, not chaotic. As we sat across from each other, laughter filling the space between us, she reached for my hand. "You okay?" she asked gently. I smiled. "Yeah, I finally closed a chapter today." She tilted her head, curious. "You saw her?" "Yeah," I said. And for the first time, I didn't feel the need to prove anything. Emily squeezed my hand. "That's when you know you've healed." Outside, the night shimmered with a quiet beauty, the kind that comes only after a storm. I realized then that revenge hadn't been the ending of my story. It was just a turning point, the painful push I needed to rebuild my life from the ground up. Claire had taught me what betrayal looked like. But Emily, she was teaching me what peace felt like. As we walked along the lakeside later, hand in hand, I looked up at the stars and finally understood. Sometimes losing everything isn't punishment. It's permission to start again, wiser, steadier, and stronger than before. And that's exactly what I did.